I've got bad news and worse news. So, the bad news is this really demolded horribly. The worst news about this, and let me just show you. Let's just show you what's worse than this sculpture being really screwed up, being pulled. The nose is completely flattened on the one side. Even the underneath got affected a little bit. But I can fix it. That's not a problem. The worst news, as I'm going to show you. And then I will tell you what I'm going to do about it. The worst news is the mold busted in 15 pieces. Demolding it. Now, one of two things happened here. The ears are a big culprit. They are a huge culprit. Every time you demold, you have to throw too much pressure onto these walls, even though they're thick. It's one of two things, which the other, well, it's actually a combination of a lot of things, I think, actually. The other thing I learned is, well, I know there wasn't any air pockets in the plaster because of the way I applied this plaster on this yesterday. I really did runny coats, and it really, it was really strong. So I know it's not air pockets when I went to demold. It was definitely the combination of how hard it was to get the mold around the ears by hammering it. And there's a real good possibility that this plaster was old. And there's one other possibility. Maybe the plaster wasn't quite cured all the way. In other words, it wasn't hardened completely. It needed to dry out for another couple days. Not thinking, I started hammer on this thing. The plaster could have been bad. It just could have been a combination of everything. So now I have a busted mold, and guess what I got to do over the next several days? I got to retool to bring it back. I have to retool the sculpture to bring it back to where it was. And believe me, there's a lot of damage to this because of how much trouble I had getting this mold off. The nose is literally flattened. It looks like it even got crushed a little bit on this side. The eyebrows, the ears without saying, but even here got, scraped a little bit. Man, that never happened before. I never had that happen. But I also never had a mold break. The lips didn't really get affected too much, just a little bit on the side because of the way I demolded it. I was extra careful. I didn't let it drop like I did the last time. But man, frustrating, you have no idea. Now I'm going to have to bring this back to where it was and then mold it again. Only this time I will wait at least 3 to 4 days before I demold it. I will make sure that stone is cured completely. I don't want it to be, it's got to be hard as nails. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to order some, probably like 5 pounds of dental cement. And I'm going to use that as well. I'm going to mix that with my Ultra Cal to really make that hard. I'm also going to do a new technique when I demold. I think I zoomed in. Okay, yeah. I'm going to shave the ears off right from the back of the mold when the front half, when I take the back half off, which slips off with no problem every time. And the front half, what really keeps the mold from releasing real easy is the ears every time. Well, since the ears get damaged anyway, why am I struggling with this? I'll cut from the back of the mold, right on the back of the mold. Like the mold, let's say the concrete's on here. Well, the back of the ear is exposed. So all I have to do is get a very sharp knife and kind of cut all the way in, all the way to the front of the ear. And, that will release the sculpture. And yes, I'll have wax inside. The I'll have the clay inside the ear still inside the mold, but that's easy to cake out because it's a hard clay. It'll come right out. The problem is the amount of pressure that it takes to. I mean, you got to really pound the hell out of that stone to pull it away from, to rip through those ears, because this is a hard clay. It's not a soft clay. That is the downfall of using the hard clay, is it doesn't demold as easily. So ticked off right now. I think once I calm down a little bit, my plan is to jump on to this and start sculpting it again, bringing it back to where it was. I have to get this done. I cannot play around. I want to get this thing finished and molded, and I can't rush things. I'm too busy trying to rush, always trying to rush, and this is not something you can rush. It takes the time that it takes. It is what it is. I have this, and I think I'm going to mold this. I put some Armor All on the latex. You see now how nice and tan that is now? Well, that's completely shrunk up now, that foam-filled mold, master copy. And what I think I'm going to do to fix the eyebrows is just round off those tips a little bit. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm probably going to use this. Actually, am I going to use this? I don't think so. I don't know. I'll debate on whether I want to use this or not. But it's dry, but the reason why it's shiny is because I put Armor All on it. It really protects the rubber. So I'll debate on whether or not I want to use this. But I will have this sculpted back to normal within the next couple of days, because I'm not gonna YouTube it. I'm not gonna go live. I am going to focus and knock this thing out. I mean, I just have to put things back to where they were. That's it. That's pretty much what I have to do. So, got tons of pictures to do that. I just have to upload them and make sure that I get the nose back to where it was. So it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Having that mold. I do think that plaster. See, the problem is with plaster is you don't know how long it's been sitting somewhere else. So I don't know, whenever I buy the plaster, there's no way to really tell whether plaster is good or bad until you use it. So I'm going to dig into a different bucket when I do this. No, actually. No, the bad stuff isn't the stuff that I just used. I had plaster. Whenever the stuff breaks, I'm not thinking straight right now, because I just got done. I just demolded it about an hour ago. I started the process, and talk about disappointing. Anyway, that just sets me back probably at least 3 or 4 days until I can mold this again. And I'm not going to go through the process of putting this on camera again or anything. I'm just going to get busy, get it done, get it molded, and then try to get this thing finished. And end of story. The eyebrows didn't change any position. The eye cuts aren't hurt at all. Actually, they're a little bit, but not much. The the lip is pretty much okay except for this one little spot, and it's really not raked in deep. It's only just a little bit. The ears, of course, are destroyed, but I'm going to fix this and fix it quick. So I'll be warming up some clay so it's a little easier to manage when I go to do the ears. I definitely want to get this. The back of the head's perfect. It didn't, not one little mark, which is crazy. The neck always gets a little raked on each side, front and back of the mold. But yeah, I'm going to fix this the way I'm going to bring it right back to where it was. It's just frustrating. Thank God, though, I'm not using a soft clay, because a soft clay would have been, destroyed completely, and I would have been back to square one trying to fix this mess. So there's give and take. The lesson here is hard clay, you can demold with very little damage, but it is very hard to demold it. And you have to learn tricks and techniques, obviously. And it's funny, after it cracked, I kept having trouble with the back of the ears, having the mold, on the back of the ears. And then what I ended up doing to demold it, I had to shave the ears off. Let me show you. I'll just show you. I had to start cutting into the ears, on the back of the ears, to get it to release. So what I did, well, I just stuck a piece of clay back in there, but that's okay. I'll fix that. See how I stuck my screwdriver in there, and I started digging into the ear to try and release it from, and at this part here would have stayed right into the mold, but the mold broke, and that's why it didn't stay on this side. So this side kind of stayed. But from now on, I got a piece of wire that I'm going to run. I got a piece of clay wire that I'm going to run right across the bottom of the ear. I'm going to make sure that I have the ear completely shaved off, at least all the areas that really grab the most, and that's all in here. The front of the ear, I'll show you. See, if I cut all the way into this area right here, if I can cut this far in to the ear, right here, right to the halfway point, the rest of this will come right out with no problem, and I won't have to hammer at the mold as much. And that's really what caused a lot of the damage, was the hammering. So yeah, I've got some work to do. Yeah, I'm going to upload. Yeah, the other one, I think I just didn't make it public yet because it was uploading all night last night. It was over a 5-hour video I wasn't aware of. So that was a long video, the molding process. But the bad news here is, Steve, is the mold itself busted all over the face. It's a mess. So when I tried to demold this, it could have been bad plaster. It could have been, it's not an air pocket. I know it's not an air pocket because I absolutely made sure that there was no air anywhere in that mold. And where it broke, I knew there wasn't any air pockets. So it was like just broken several pieces. It was the combination of it not releasing real easy, and it was because of the way I did those ears. So from now on, I'm going to do the ears the exact same way so I keep the detail. But from now on, I'm going to wire cut those ears all the way to the point where it goes into the ear right here. So if I can shave, like I'm going to take the wire and run it into this and bring it right to here. And once you have it to that point, this will peel right off. And I do it on both sides. I won't have any problem demolding the front. Chances are I'll be able to demold it with just my hands and very little hammering. And this way I won't get as much damage. But man, what a nightmare. Now I got to retool this thing again. And it's delayed me. It's going to be at least a week before I have this ready for, maybe a week and a half before I have it ready for making a mask. It's just frustrating. But the majority of the sculpture's there. It's not. It's there's a little damage here and there. That I can fix with not too big of a big issue. But some would look at this and go, "Oh my God, it's a disaster." No, it isn't, because anytime you still have all your shape, and the shape is here, the chin's not changed, everything looks good in this area. This looks like it's just a little bit of powder or something that's on the side of the face. There might be a little scraping there, but I can fix all that. That's not an issue. Doing the ears again and doing all that. Oh man, it's just ugh, not looking forward to it. But I'm going to rush this. I'm not going to do YouTubes on this because I want to get this done quick. And I'll do the ears first because they're the most frustrating to get. They're easy for me, but the nose and the ears are probably the most two hardest places. The lips, thank God they didn't really get damaged too much, just a little bit of a scuffing in here, but they're pretty much okay. So I just have to fix it. That's it. So that's the bad news and the worst news. So I just wanted to update you guys. I'm going to update that other video that I did yesterday. And the process of doing that front mold wasn't incorrect. So I know that it wasn't an air pocket. It was two things. It was not letting it cure for a couple of days, which I don't know why. I just wasn't thinking. And I thought, I can demold that tomorrow. And usually I let my mold sit for like 2 or 3 days to make sure that all the moisture is completely evaporated out of the stone. And I know this. And I still pushed on to try and, it's because I was like thinking, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. So that was the first time that ever happened to me where I busted the mold. And now I learned a lesson here. And that is, and it's teaching you guys too. Don't demold your sculpture until that stone is really cured and dried out. That means at least 2 to 3 days. Then you can demold your sculpture. Because the stone, if it's the slightest bit moist on the inside, yeah, the outside might be nice and dry, but the inner inside of that mold, if that's not completely dry, and I mean damp, the slightest little dampness weakens that stone. So it has to be completely hard before you can demold it. So that's a lesson learned, and I will wait a couple days before I demold. So I don't think the plaster was bad. I'm just not sure. See, that's the thing. That the one thing about plaster is you don't know how long it's been sitting somewhere else, before you bought it. So wherever it was, maybe it came from the factory and it was there for a year and a half, who knows? Shelf life on that plaster is not, the Ultra Cal 30 is, I'm going to say 6, maybe 8 months. So with the COVID stuff going on and the shipping problems that are going on, I'll bet some of this plaster is sitting around a lot longer than, normal. So, I don't know. I just don't know. There's no way to know. And there's no way to look at plaster and go, oh, okay, that's bad. I can't use that. You don't know until you do a mold. And then you realize, oh, this plaster is no good. And the plaster, how you'll know when the plaster is no good is after it dries and there's, it's breaking easy, in spots like on the, like say on the outer mold, you had a couple pieces sticking out or something and you broke it off with your hand after it's completely cured. And if you're able to break that with your fingers, that's bad plaster. So anyway, well, I mean, if it's real thin stuff, if it's a real thin area, if you have to put a lot of pressure to break it, that's different. But if it's a fairly thick piece and you were able to break it right off, you got bad plaster there. So I don't know. I don't know. So you know, it's just a lesson learned. I think the main thing is the next time I put my sculpture into the plaster, and I'm just going to let it sit for at least 3 days before I demold it. And I'm going to put it in the sun. Actually, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to melt my. Well, I don't think it would. Um, but who knows? I just I want to make sure that the plaster is completely cured and dry. The right word is cured. Uh, Dry is what it means, but cured is it's at its full strength. It has to be really strong before you demold it. Anyway, I'm jumping off. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on uh, the next stream, whenever that is. When I have this real close to finish, then I'll put a stream up for you guys. Okay? Peace. Have a wonderful day. My day's starting out crappy, but you know what? I'm breathing. I can keep going. I never quit, baby. I never quit. I will get this done. I will get it done. I will push and I will get this done and done pretty quick. So, uh, anyway, have a good one, guys, and I'll see you on the next stream. Remember to hit the like, and I'm going to upload that video, by the way. So, you guys are out. I'm going to go fix that right now. All right, I'll see you.